Gang, your boy just dropped a limited edition Spooktober t-shirt. I'm only selling 150 of these on a Yeezy ting, so if you want one, head on over to traplaw.com ASAP. Hit that link in description or the merch shelf below. Cheers!
Megan the Stallion, live, taking shots.
Tory Lanez stunned the hip-hop world in 2020 when he turned Hot Girl Summer into Shot Girl Summer, allegedly shooting Megan the Stallion in the foot, an incident which would have sent any less talented stallions straight to the glue factory. And while we all now know that Meg infamously aired Tory out on IG Live, pointing the finger in front of the whole world and telling fans, yes, Tory was the one who shot me looking like a female 6'9".
Yes, this Tory shot me. You shot me.
And of course, Tory has since clapped back on his questionably monetized response record, Daystar, stopping just short of saying specifically that he didn't fire any shots, saying simply that Megan's team is trying to set him up in some sort of way, doubting the extent of her injuries, and generally just suggesting that there is far more to the story than the public realise. Of course, what makes this incident all the more explosive is the fact that Meg and Tory were supposedly dating at the time Tory decided to give her a set of lead Louboutins, aka bloody shoes. A lot of things went down between these two publicly in the lead up to that fateful night. So today we are going to take a closer look at the most cursed romance in hip-hop history and try and work out how the hell we ended up here. Born in 1995, Megan Thee Stallion had early rap aspirations as a teenager, but apparently due to her suggestive lyrics that we know oh so well today, her mother told her that she would need to wait until she was at least 21 to start pursuing her dream as a potty-mouth pop sensation. And she stuck to that. So eventually, when the day came that Meg had matured into a full-blown stallion, on April 2016 she released her first single, the aptly titled Like a Stallion, which came along with a mixtape of the same name, and a music video where she rapped with supreme skills in a sizzling outfit, with a cool wavy pattern that had Meg out here looking like a prototype car. Meg eventually transcended the DIY music sandbox and released her professional debut project, Make It Hot. And Make It Hot she did, with her song Last Week in Houston, Texas becoming her breakout hit and eventually racking up millions of views on YouTube. No doubt a good few million of those were just me rewatching, hoping a boob pops out of that loose denim dress. Oh, here it comes, ah, no boobs for you. Anywho, in 2017, her Stally freestyle, a rework of XXXTentacion's Look at Me, begun to pick up steam, coming along with a music video where she rapped her whole verse standing in the middle of a suburban street, because Meg the Stallion don't fucks with local traffic laws like that. By 2018, she was breaking even further into the mainstream music game with her Tina Snow EP, named after her alter ego inspired by Pimp C's alter ego, Tony Snow. That project contained the headline track Tina Montana and the later hit Big Ol' Freak, where Meg was seen in the music video depicting a delicious cherry on the top of an ice cream, certainly giving her fans big ol' boners, and landing Megan big ol' acclaim. She ended 2018 triumphantly, signing to 300 Entertainment as their first ever female signee in November. This move kicked her career in overdrive and was followed by big song and big project releases in 2019. Thanks to an extra push from the label, Big Ol' Freak ended up peaking at 65 on the Billboard chart and #1 on the Boner Board chart. She then dropped her next mixtape, Fever, which again received critical acclaim and was the perfect project to accompany her selection on the XXL freshman list. It was also in 2019 that Meg would drop her monster hit Hot Girl Summer, which went on to peak at a whopping number 11 on the Billboard charts. And so with all of these spins on Hot Girl Summer, all eyes were on Meg. But it would turn out that all of this added attention would extend outside of the music game, because once she reached a certain level, the media begun to get fascinated in Meg's dating life too. In 2019, most notably, Meg was dating Moneybagg Yo, which was seemingly confirmed when they both appeared on each other's social media accounts in July 2019, with Moneybagg Yo apparently coming out as a hot boy. I personally would call him a hot bag. They'd of course previously collaborated together on the September 2018 track Make a Bag, where Moneybagg Yo very stylishly delivered his verse while eating a plate of shrimp, out here looking like Moneybagg Gump. But unfortunately, by the end of the year, Meg the Stallion would be shouting Moneybagg no, and they soon split up. Then before you know it, Meg was trying out successful men like they were cheap hats. In November, being linked to ball player Tristan Thomas, though she quickly denied this. She was also spotted getting cozy with Trey Songz at his birthday party. And then for a brief moment, it looked like she was dating none other than Wiz Khalifa, rumours which seemed to frustrate Meg, forcing her to lash out on Twitter for what seemed to be slut-shaming. Hey listen, I don't think there's any problem with Meg being linked to all of these men. If I was a chick and my box was popping in the street, I'd be riding in everybody's Bugatti. The only reason I bring this up is because it's proof that there's always been a significant media interest in what's going on in Meg Thee Stallion's love life. And so, by 2020, just before the virus hit, Meg was a single lady, living the dream. Freshly signed to a management deal with hip-hop Illuminati Rock Nation, she just released her latest EP, Sugar, which went number 7 on the Billboard Albums chart, and her new single, Savage, which got a Beyoncé remix and ended up going top 10. And well, with all of this success, of course, comes big invitations. In January 2020, Meg Thee Stallion was invited to the Rock Nation pre-Grammys luncheon, and it was there that she ended up meeting this Prince Charming, a Mr. Tory Lanez. For English people, Tory Lanez is just Boris Johnson's favourite bowling alley. But to rap fans for the past 10 years, say the name Tory Lanez and the first thing that comes to mind is, wait, who? Yes, in 2020, to casual music fans, it might feel like the Tory and Meg mania came out of completely nowhere. But to Tory's credit, he had been grinding hard in the underground rap scene for years, trying to get the recognition he felt he deserved. Coming out in 2009 with his TL to TO mixtape. So, whilst hustling his music in the streets of his native Canada, Tory eventually managed to befriend fellow Canadian hate figure Justin Bieber, with these two apparently becoming so close that they can't even pose for a picture together without spontaneously jerking off. Anyway, once he'd washed his hands, apparently Justin Bieber had made an introduction between Tory Lanez and Sean Kingston, who would eventually sign Tory in 2012. From here, Tory went on to release his mixtapes Mr. Peterson, The Chicks Tape, and Swavey, with the last of which being the first time that I personally discovered Tory Lanez music, and at the time really enjoying his high-energy persona, his versatile talent on the mic, and uncanny ability to swing from spitting fast, high-tempo rap bars to lady-killing R&B crooning. And while in the years that followed, I personally lost interest in Tory's music, I'll never forget getting my first taste of his infectious ad-libs on that tape. Canada! As well as those hard tracks that I had on repeat, like Happy Hour, Wooden Beads, or Still Cute. In fact, I've always remembered that skit from that album where Tory Lanez has some really ominous voice say, "Tory Lanez, he's not an artist, he's a selection."
Tory Lanez is not an artist. He's a selection.
I never really got that line at the time, but now, nearly a decade later, it makes sense knowing that he's about to be a selection in a lineup. Anywho, I could tell Tory had big talent back on the mic way back in 2012, but it would take him a long ass time to convince everybody else and break through to the mainstream rap world. But the ball was rolling, and by 2015, he was working with the best DJ in the game, DJ Drama, putting together a Gangsta Grillz mixtape called The New Toronto, and soon after signing a major label deal, hooking up with Benny Blanco's Mad Love Records under Interscope and dropping his debut album I Told You in 2016. This landed at number 4 on the Billboard charts, sold 52k first week and 500k within 2 years. Tory was finally in the industry and being taken seriously as a mainstream rapper, and in the years that followed he would continue to hold down this position and drop projects that would get mainstream recognition. However, when it came to discussion of the real cream of the crop rappers at the top of the game, Tory was left out of the conversation. His 2018 hit Memories Never Die hit number 3 on Billboard and number 1 in his native Canada. Love Me Now went number 4 in Canada and in the US, and both The Chicks Tape 5 and The New Toronto 3 hit number 2 on Billboard. Throwing up a lot of 2s, Tory, that's Nicki Minaj numbers right there. This guy's got so many number 2 albums, I'm gonna have to start calling him Tory Lanez. Anywho, Tory, having built up a dedicated fan base of people who always show up when he drops, as well as having dropped a litany of big songs that have racked up big streams, Tory still never managed to break through with that one big hit single that would top the charts and make him a household name. I mean, it seems like even to this day, his only plaque-certified record in the United States is the track Talk to Me with Rich the Kid that went platinum in 2019. So, in 2020, Tory Lanez was looking for an alternative way to keep his name ringing in the streets. And once the COVID crisis hit and people around the world were forced to quarantine inside their homes, Tory stumbled upon the perfect avenue to broadcast his personality to the fans. Streaming live on Instagram with his now famous quarantine radio, which funnily enough brought him back into the path of Megan Thee Stallion. In February 2020, Megan Thee Stallion was seen partying with G-Eazy in Miami and was later pictured on social media laying in bed while he kissed her face. Alright, listen ladies, I know that G-Eazy ain't everyone's cup of tea, but I hear the G stands for girth. Anyway, despite his attempts, it turned out that Meg wasn't that easy, and she swiftly took to Twitter to deny hooking up with G. Funnily enough, within a week, G-Eazy ended up responding to this on Wax, inferring heavily that they had hooked up on his song Still Be Friends, a track all about hooking up with girls and hoping that you can still remain friends after. Oh, and and guess who else was on that track? None other than Tory Lanez. And what do you know, a week later, Meg was apparently spotted hanging out in the club with Tory. And by the end of February, Tory Lanez was spotted once again hanging out with Meg Thee Stallion, apparently backstage at an event along with model Winnie Harlow, posting that picture up on his Instagram looking like fuckboy of the year and starting his long-running trend of not being able to keep his tongue in his mouth. Unfortunately for everyone in literally the entire goddamn world, it was at this point that the COVID crisis hit. And in March 2020, millions of people went into lockdown and quarantine, leaving innocent rappers unable to tour and pick up that delicious bag. And meanwhile, all us non-rapping peasants were stuck at home, bored with nothing to point our stupid eyes at. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where Tory Lanez's quarantine radio saved the day. Funnily enough, this had just started as a simple attempt by Tory to hop on the sound clash wave, a big trend that was going on social media throughout quarantine, where rappers were going live, putting their respective catalogues of songs out there for a head-to-head who has the most hits battle. We saw Tory going head-to-head with the likes of French Montana at the end of March.
Tory Lanez, man, I hope Instagram wasn't fronting. I hope he wasn't curving. I just hope he wasn't curving. 10 o'clock, we're going live, 10 o'clock.
A back and forth that had a lot of people completely gobsmacked at the surprising amount of sleeper hits that French Montana has.
All right, come on. Last 3 records, my nigga.
All right.
Let's get it.
I got too many records. This one right here against your next 3. This one right here against your next 3. Good night, my brother.
Unforgettable stuff. A lot of celebrities begun dropping in on Tory's streams, with the likes of Bryson Tiller and Justin Bieber making appearances.
White boy genre. This is it. Me and Bryson Tiller, white boy genre right now. Let's get it rocking. Shout my nigga Bieber in the cut. Bieber was the first person, before Sean actually. Bieber was the first person that ever actually noticed me.
Dude, I noticed you when you were doing rap battles in Toronto.
But it was in April that Tory's quarantine radio format would take shape and blow up in a big way. Mainly born simply out of one of Tory's boys throwing him a microphone as a prop and beginning the trend of patching in hilarious old school radio style ad-libs and sound effects.
I'ma give everybody a second to join in. Oh man, we're back. Let the people in, let the people in. Everybody gets in. We've got 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. Hold on, we got 25,000. 25,000. 30,000. 35,000. 35,000. 40,000. 40,000. 45,000. 50,000.
Also, for the record, rampant alcoholism was indeed a feature of quarantine radio. Perhaps just a little bit of extra foreshadowing for Tory Lanez making bad drunken decisions later on in this story.
I need everybody to grab your liquor bottle. I need everybody to grab your liquor bottle right now. I need everybody to grab your liquor bottle right now.
Of course, the hilarious sound effects and Tory's infectious personality are all well and good, but eventually Tory stumbled upon the real secret ingredient for a poppin' Instagram live stream: twerking girls. So from here on out, quarantine radio began to build its reputation as the premier destination for twerking baddies. So much so that for a brief period, Tory even butted up against the IG rules against nudity and was nearly kicked off the platform. Fortunately, Tory was given another chance, committing from here on out to hold his twerk-offs responsibly, reaching for the stars and eventually attracting celebrity twerkers. Of course, we're talking about none other than Megan Thee Stallion.
We see you in incredibly sexy yellow shorts. Sexy. My goodness gracious. Oh my gosh. Damn. I'm gonna have some memories to do some things to tonight. Are we ready? Meg, are you joining the official twerk competition?
I am the queen of this shit.
We're gonna let your song run right now, Meg. Are you ready? Let's keep it rocking. 10 seconds, better.
Meg was duly putting in work on Quarantine Radio with Tory. She had the Quarantine Radio crew and over 100,000 live viewers going wild. Once again, Tory couldn't keep his damn tongue in his mouth and was clearly smitten with this stuff-shaking kitten or stallion. Now, I couldn't quite work out exactly what had happened behind the scenes to trigger this, but a couple of weeks later, Meg went on her own live, doing a parody seemingly mocking Tory's Quarantine Radio format, apparently telling fans that somebody didn't hit, and they got tiny-ass wiener that doesn't fit in a magnet.
You did not hit.
You did not hit.
If that magnet don't fit, you did not hit. You did not. I don't give a fuck what you niggas is talking about on that Quarantine Radio. Niggas is not hitting. I need y'all to know all your wholeness is deleted. Welcome to Hot Girl Radio, where your wholeness is deleted and all the fuck boys are defeated.
Meanwhile, over on Quarantine Radio, things were heating up, and we saw Tory Lanez putting on an extra thirsty display of affection for Kylie Jenner's birthday, bringing out the digital bottles in a desperate attempt to get her attention, and shooting his metaphorical shot at the Kardashian-adjacent young boss queen.
I think it is. Hold on, I just got word. The most beautiful, the most poppin'. I got a crush on you, but I can't go too far because you're already taken. Beautiful, the sexy. I hope I get a date with you one day. Kylie Jenner is in the building. Perfect. 75 out of 10. 75 out of 10. 75 out of 10. What's happening? Carol Baskin! Hey, Kylie Jenner!
Yes, Tory Lanez's public declarations of love for Kylie Jenner duly landed him a prestigious 2 laughing emojis from the Crown Princess of Clown, an acknowledgement that he would soon attempt to convert into a real-life liaison. Now let's just take stock for a second, alright? You gotta appreciate just how big Quarantine Radio was at the time. Tory was everywhere, and he was popping in a way that he had never popped with his music before. And while for a while it seemed like his radio show and his climb to the top were truly unstoppable, hell, Tory even ended up beating Taylor Swift's record for the most consecutive IG live viewers after getting none other than fellow Canadian woman disappointer Drake to appear.
Hold on, Drake has just walked into the... We got Drake live! Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. With the help of the ultimate light skin, we just reached 246,000! We officially just broke the Taylor Swift record.
So, having reached the pinnacle of IG live success, much like most of the things we got into during quarantine, you know, exercising, texting your ex, secretly coughing on old people, eventually everyone slipped back into their old ways, gave up their new habits, as the fans and seemingly Tory himself lost interest in Quarantine Radio. But as a newly minted star, Tory's name was ringing in the streets, and it was time for him to reap the rewards of his newly found A-list status. A couple of weeks after Kylie Jenner appeared on Quarantine Radio, and Meg had been roasting Quarantine Radio, Tory took the show on the road, appearing in a special live video in person alongside Meg the Stallion. In fact, this was still in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, and Tory and Meg even caught a lot of flack for seemingly traveling across the country to meet up in person in the face of strict social distancing rules. And you know what? I wouldn't be completely surprised to find out Tory had spread disease. After all, in the background of that live video, he was audibly coughing up that blunt that he's always smoking. Must have been puffing on that COVID-19. Anyway, this day that Tory and Meg decided to meet in person and do a live, Meg was cooling by the pool, posting pics of herself in a sizzling bikini on Instagram. God damn, wait, can we see that pic again? Nice. Nice. So, Tory joined Megan in person for an extended poolside IG live session. And perhaps once again, seeds for future fuckeries were laid, as we saw Meg and Tory getting lit, drinking maybe a little too much Patron straight out of the bottle. Tory was definitely a little off the sauce, claiming himself to be too drunk to learn Megan's pretty simple dance moves.
To the front, to the side, and then throw the shit.
All right, do it in the timing for me.
I'm drunk.
Tory later re-emerged with that bottle, telling Megan that it was shots o'clock, something that he would do again 2 months later.
It's an official shot o'clock. Live right here on Quarantine Radio.
Clearly, Tory's smooth moves were working their magic on Megan. And the following month, people were speculating once again that Tory had been hanging out with Megan after she posted a clip to Instagram that seemingly had his voice in the background. And within days of this coming out, blogs begun to rapidly speculate whether or not these two were an item. For a moment on June the 19th, it looked like maybe this wasn't the case, as Megan Thee Stallion took to social media with an unidentified man, claiming she'd found a new man who was so damn cute. Can't have been Tory then. Funnily enough, that same day, Megan posted an Instagram thirst trap of her modeling Rihanna's Savage X Fenty range, a thirst trap which Tory Lanez quickly fell into, commenting, "You gotta chill." But of course, this was the last news that we heard from this couple before that fateful day on the 12th of July when shit truly hit the fan. A clip begun to circulate that seemed to depict Megan Thee Stallion, Kylie Jenner, and Tory Lanez all hanging out together in a swimming pool in Hollywood. Initially, it's just Meg and Kylie, who are then told by a man off screen that they need to turn the music down because the cops are lurking. After this, these two smoking hot queens are interrupted by an overzealous Tory who Meg really ain't trying to hear from.
Tory, don't get my phone wet.
This clip was a small artifact to help piece together a much bigger puzzle. Because now, as we all know, some crazy shit went down after this party. Story has it that Tory had been flirting with Kylie Jenner a little too much, causing some friction between himself and Megan. This is actually something that Tory later elaborated on his song Queen and Slim on his Daystar album, suggesting that at a certain point, Megan had left the party to go to the car, apparently upset about the flirting that had gone on. And unfortunately, there's a lot of disagreement about what happened next. Some have said that it was at this point that Megan ended the relationship with Tory and he got mad, while others have said that Megan was the one who initially got physical with Tory in the argument about Kylie, leading to a physical escalation. At some point, a gun was let off and Meg was injured. Right now, we only have his word against hers, and unfortunately, we don't have any stone cold facts proving what happened either way.
Hey, and let's not forget that Megan Thee Stallion has a history of getting physical with men. In February 2020, Page Six reported her mugshot and details of a 2015 arrest. This was an incident where she found out her boyfriend had cheated on her and they had a big argument. He was apparently pushing her, and after he snatched and smashed her phone, she proceeded to physically attack him, with the police turning up as she was punching him and arresting her for assault, ultimately landing her 2 days in jail. And she even went on to tell the police that he didn't hit her, saying specifically that she did this so that he didn't go to jail. Exactly what she did to Tory.
TMZ reported that the police were actually initially responding to a disturbance reported outside of a Hollywood Hills home where people were supposedly already arguing inside of an SUV. Apparently, shots were fired into the air at this point when this argument took place, and then the vehicle left the scene. Police then tracked down the car, pulling it over. Tory and Meg were supposedly found inside the car, with footage from the scene later coming out. Tory was reportedly arrested on gun charges after being seen laid face down on the street by the cops, who unfortunately didn't have the good humor to bust a few jokes on the megaphone.
Quarantine, quarantine! Let's put our hands in the air for Tory Lanez one time! Oh! Quarantine, quarantine, quarantine! It's shots o'clock on Quarantine Radio! Damn, really though, she looks hurt. This is not a good look, Tory.
Of course, we later learned after seeing these tense scenes that Megan needed medical treatment for an injury to her foot. Megan later described these injuries as gunshot wounds, sharing pictures of the injury to social media. But here's a question I hear no one asking. What did Kylie Jenner think of all this? Well, funnily enough, she actually unfollowed both Meg and Tory on Instagram the next day, and seemingly made an Instagram post that some thought was taunting Meg, a picture with nothing but Kylie's foot in frame, and a caption saying thank God for another beautiful day. So that's the whole saga, start to finish. I know everybody wants to know the exact facts of what happened there that day, and hell, maybe we will one day get a more detailed account from the cops covering exactly what went down. Meg says that Tory made it shots o'clock on her feet. Tory says Meg and her people are moving shady. Ultimately, right now, the only people who truly know what went down that day are the people who were there in that car. All I know is one thing: Tory and Meg is the hip-hop romance that was not meant to be.
Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget, I just dropped my limited edition Vamp Law Spooktober merch. There's only going to be 150 of these tees being sold, so make sure you go over to traplaw.com or hit that link below and get yours before they're gone. Thank you and peace out.